Welcome back to Great Day. Okay, so back to school means a new schedule and balancing activities, and something else to adjust to: tech habits. From screen time and phones to AI and group chats, technology expert and mom Nuala O'Connor is here with simple ways to set boundaries and help kids use tech responsibly. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, Nuala, just a little bit about you. Former president and CEO of the Center for Democracy and Technology. Your tech and privacy experiences with Amazon, GE, the Department of Homeland Security, focusing on privacy, digital rights, and online safety. But where your extra experience comes in, literally hits home, is at home. 6 kids?
3 kids, 3 stepkids, 3 dogs, 3 of everything.
Wow, wow. Okay, I said 6 kids, and our live studio audience, they went, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, but so that means you have the professional and the personal experience of what we're talking about. You know, we start things in the beginning of the school year. It's like, okay, new alarm times to wake up, new this, new that, packing lunches and a whole bit. But you say people should also do a family tech reset, different from what you're probably doing all summer long.
Exactly right. This is the perfect time to have those conversations and set those new rules and boundaries. I think it's great that we all relaxed a little bit over the summer. We certainly did in our house on the rules and how much screen time. Now's the time to have a fresh start and have the conversations with each of the children at the age appropriate level about how you expect them to interact with their devices for school and for fun.
Yeah.
So we've got to live in the real world. These kids have got to use computers at school. We've got to set some boundaries and help them learn how to use them responsibly.
And lead by example. Parents should follow the same rules when possible. I can't tell you how many times my son called me out on this. He's like, you just told me to get off my phone. He goes, why are you on your phone? Mommy's working, right?
Exactly right. That's exactly right, that parents need to live by the same rules, at least, or some version of the same rules that the kids do, and set a good example. No phones at the dinner table, no phones after 10 o'clock or bedtime, and have real conversations face to face. The new phrase, the phrase is touch grass, but get the family together in ways that don't involve everybody sitting and looking on their screens. You're right, we don't want to be hypocrites, and I get called out as well at home.
All right, you mentioned setting it by age appropriate rules, but you can also have some leeway in there because some kids are more mature than others, so you can take that and consider that too.
Maturity is almost more important than the actual age. There's no perfect number to get a new phone or to get onto certain social media apps. It's really about whether you think the child has the judgment to make good decisions, and really your role changes as the kids are older. I was an adopter of really getting the kids on early, helping them learn, sitting side by side with them so that they knew what the rules are. They could repeat after me at a very young age. No names, no addresses, no phone numbers, no personal information.
That way it becomes second nature. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, speaking of that, let's go through, when you have a child in elementary school, some tech rules to keep in mind.
This is where you really are kind of overlooking everything they're doing. And it should be pretty limited screen time that's not for school purposes. I'm not counting television and watching TV or movie with your parents.
No, TV's
I'm talking
good.
about sitting
TV's
alone.
good. We love TV.
We all need screens at some point. But I mean the screen that you're sitting alone in your room and not engaging with people in the real world. The recommendations, you've seen the American Academy of Pediatrics and other experts say a half an hour at the elementary school level in general for fun time on a daily basis is more than enough. We get to middle school, it's a little bit longer. You give them a little more leeway also if they show that they have good judgment to get on social media and engage with other people, but you still might have their passwords, you still might have access to their accounts, and you're having daily conversations with them about what they're seeing. What are our big fears? What they're seeing, what they're posting, who they're meeting.
All right.
And then
what
in
about
high school,
that child
obviously,
who
if they're
says,
ready.
what about that child who says, this is my password? It obviously says don't ever share your password with anybody. This is my privacy.
That is such a good argument that my children have made to me about their privacy, their personal privacy. And this is where you do sometimes get the conversation about, I'm paying for that phone, my child, and this is my device. But it's also about, this is the contract, essentially. This is the agreement this family has, that you get these privileges, but you also have to have these constraints based on your age. And as you get older, and especially in a house with multiple kids with multiple ages, they can see that the rules loosen as your judgment tightens. As you demonstrate responsibility, you can get a little more access, a little more freedom. Yeah. I've now got high school and college students. They are definitely on their own, but I still have conversations about, what are you posting? Is your future employer going to see that? Is your college admissions officer going to see that? If I could leave you with one rule, it's that everything is forever. It's all out there.
You're
The
so
minute
right
you
about
post
that.
it.
I know a child who just didn't get into an Ivy League school because it came down to it, because it's so competitive. They were asking why, and so a counselor looked right at her and said, "We looked at your social media." And so, that could become a problem. But she had to learn that lesson the hard way because her parents had told her over and over again, and she dismissed it. It's easy to dismiss because if it's out of your mind, you think it's out of sight for everybody else, and it's not. All right, setting ground rules for this new thing called AI, which we know can be a great educational tool, but at the same time, it can hinder some things.
AI is the #1 thing on parents' minds, on educators' minds, at schools of all levels, elementary, secondary, high school, and college. And my response to that is AI is a good tool. It doesn't replace doing your homework on your own. It doesn't replace your brain, but it's something that can augment. Think of it almost like search in the 20 years ago. This is Google, but for this generation. It's a great tool to learn more about your subject and to get ideas about something to write in a paper.
Well, you're so right about
not
that.
be
And I'm just
used-
going to throw this out there. My son is dyslexic, ADHD, and I remember him having an essay where it would say, tell us about your pet at home. And he was starting in the early years writing an essay. He goes, it's a dog. And that was it. It was like, tell us. So with AI, we see the applications now where it'll say, if the child says it's a dog, it's like, what kind of dog? Well, how do you like this dog? What games do you play? It can prompt you to write that paper, but it doesn't write it for you, or it shouldn't write it for you.
It shouldn't be used as your ghostwriter. It absolutely should be used for those kind of conversational prompts and idea generation. The one thing I would say, and I've had a very similar conversation with a child in my house of a similar profile, it's not going to do your homework for you, and you cannot hand in something that you have cut and pasted out of your generative AI tool any more than you can cut and paste something out of a book or something you found online. That's plagiarism. That's good old-fashioned plagiarism, and it doesn't work here, and it's not going to be okay with the school.
Yeah, in fact, a lot of schools will have kids sign a little contract saying that they won't do that, and you'll get in trouble for that. All right, you got to sit down and talk about online behavior, and I feel like that's a continuing conversation.
Absolutely. And it's their behavior and the behavior of others. So people always think somebody's going to say something mean to my kid, or they're going to post something about my kid. And that's something to be concerned about. And your kids should know that they can feel safe coming to you and talking about that. It's also, what are your kids posting about themselves and about other people? Not only their personal privacy, but also, are they saying mean things about other kids? It's now a crime in some states to actually create fake images of other people, and you don't want your child to be the test case for that new law, and it's just mean. So hopefully the same rules apply in your family, online and offline, and they know to be a decent human being, and also, again, that it lasts forever once it's out there. So be really careful about what you're posting.
There's that generation gap, and so for a lot of parents, they don't know what to do, and tech can be intimidating. You say do a quick privacy check. They don't realize that there are certain limitations that you can put on your child's tech devices, but they have to know how to manipulate those settings.
100%, you want to make sure the settings on your own personal devices for yourself and your child are limiting their ability, depending on their age, to contact other people, to have other people contact them. So we want to set their messaging to private. We don't want them talking to strangers any more than you want them talking to strangers walking down the street. And you want to sit with the actual device in your hands and say, let's work on this together and let's set these settings together. Now, depending on the age, you can also have parental overrides where you get to set the settings and they don't get to change them, and that's an important thing to note. And when it comes to school devices, you're hoping that your school is setting those limitations correctly, but it's always worth having the conversation with the school, with the teacher, with the tech people there, and looking at the device yourself.
All right, Nuala, thank you very much. And audience, let's give her a round of applause for those 6 kids. Thank you very much.